Welcome into Garnet and Gold Grub, presented by TECO People's Gas. I'm Catherine Phillips alongside award-winning chef Travis Johnson. He's the Executive Culinary Director of Seminole Dining here at Florida State, and he's going to walk us through a delicious game day recipe using natural gas. Chef, what do you have for us today?
So today we're going to make one of my favorite side dishes, which is hush puppies, or some people might call spoon bread. And so to get started today, we cooking with the natural gas and cast iron. I have my oil going right now, and while this is heating up, let's go ahead and put the recipe together.
Let's do it.
So the hush puppies are going to have really two components. It's going to be your wet and your dry, and then the consistency of those coming together is going to give you the fluffiness and really the full flavor that you're looking for. So on the wet side, we start out with our heavy cream, and then we add a little bit of buttermilk. Chef, you want to help me? You can. I'll have you kind of whisk that in as I add items, and then we're going to add a little bit of our whole milk, 2 eggs, now that's the wet batters all ready. Now let's get the dry together. And similar to the wet, we want to incorporate all the dry because we're using baking powder and some flour, so we want to mix it in. So we're going to use the same technique with the whisk. So I'll go ahead and add them, and if you want to help me out, we'll do this. So we start out with our cornmeal, and then we're going to add our flour, a little bit of sugar. We want to bring some of that sweetness out, some of our Cajun spice, a little bit of salt. This is the key, our baking powder, adding just the right ratio of baking powder. Okay. Let's go ahead and mix that together. Perfect. Now the third component to this is what type of aromatics or fresh vegetables we want to add to this. Today we've selected some green onions, some red and green peppers, onions, as well as to kick it up a notch, some poblano and serrano peppers. Okay. Typically we would take them, put them in a food processor, blend them completely, and then fold them in. Gotcha. Add our serrano peppers, we'll add the poblanos. And see, not only is this going to add some flavor and depth, but it's starting to add a lot of really good color too. It is. Okay, let's go ahead and start adding our dry. You want to slowly add it to this while I'm whisking. There you go. All right, now that we have our hush puppy mixture completely blended up, you can tell that it started to congeal and set up. It really works best that once you get a good mixture, put it back in your refrigerator for about 4 or 6 hours. So it's definitely something you want to make ahead of time. Okay. The baking powder will allow it to set up, and you can see it's starting to get a little thick. Yeah. And that's going to help when we go ahead and cook in our hot oil. And I think our oil is ready to go. Let's go ahead and fry some of these hush puppies up. We got our grease at the perfect temperature, about 350 degrees. So you're going to be able to tell that these are done when they start floating to the top and they really take on that kind of golden brown color. Okay. So how does having natural gas for this help you? I love using natural gas, especially when I'm pan frying something on the stove, just because I can control the temperature. If I notice it's getting a little hot, I can adjust in the flame, and it's really reactive. Okay. So I know that I'm going to have the right cooking temperatures that I need. These are looking beautiful. So these could be served with maybe some jambalaya, a pot of gumbo with mac and cheese, other southern dishes, collard greens.
Pretty much anything. Pretty much anything.
You can eat them by themselves. If you are going to eat them by yourself, today I made a whipped butter, but I did a compound butter that is a whipped Tabasco and honey butter. Wow. So a lot of different flavors going on, but complement the hush puppies really, really well.
Kind of spicy, kind of sweet.
Let's see if we can get a couple of these out.
And those cook really quick. They
cook pretty quick. The cook time is probably about 2, maybe 3 minutes at the most. Really, once they start floating, they're ready to go. Let's do this. Doesn't that look beautiful inside?
That looks perfect.
We'll finish it with, this is that whipped honey and Tabasco butter. And these are really hot.
Those are amazing. The butter is so good. For full details on this recipe and more information on how you can incorporate natural gas at home, at your business, or at your next tailgate event, go to peoplesgas.com/cooking.